Hello everyone and welcome back to The Lion's Den. I'm your host Matt, as always, and this week we have a few things to talk about. Ooh, interesting. So let's start off with the recently announced Nintendo Switch OLED model. Beautiful name, RIP Pro model. So the Nintendo Switch received a very minor update that fixed a few of the issues people had, but not actually changed the setup a lot in a way that makes it a compelling upgrade over current Switch models. So the biggest thing is they changed the screen. It's now a 7-inch screen, which the original design was begging to have a display bigger than the one that's in it, which is begging for it with the spacing of the bezel. And it's also been upgraded, I assume, from LCD technology to OLED technology. So OLED, as everybody knows, it's more vibrant, has richer colours, better black levels, be slightly more power efficient in certain scenarios. So there's a host of little benefits. But supposedly it has the same CPU, the same RAM, the same battery, I imagine, all of that stuff. The only difference is a bigger display, even still at 720p. It's got double the storage, it's 64 gigabytes, which is slightly nicer. And the kickstand, they adjusted the kickstand to be as wide as the whole Switch body itself, not the Joy-Cons included, but just the main body. And it's a little bit more adjustable, sort of maybe what you've seen in like the Microsoft Surface range. They also updated the dock that comes with it slightly, although again that's a minor change. There's a Ethernet port built into the device, which should have been there from day one, but what are you going to do about it? Most people were able to just buy a LAN adapter. I, myself included, just bought a LAN adapter, and it's got a slightly different cutout to make routing cables a little bit easier, I think. Outside of that, it's the exact same. So that's nice. For people who haven't bought a Switch yet, or are only just interested in buying one, it's, I think, the clear model to go for, because it just gives you that slight better versatility. It's slightly annoying that there isn't a black model. If you want black Joy-Cons, you'll have to buy either the white one or the neon red and blue, and then buy black Joy-Cons, which is kind of weird. But I will say the white looks really clean. The dock is a bit odd because the outside's white, but the inside behind the cover is black, and that's a bit bizarre. But the white Joy-Cons are really nice, although I imagine they'd probably get dirty quite quickly. So, yeah, it's a shame because everyone was hoping it'd be a Nintendo Switch Pro announcement that would be like 4K or have more processing power or more RAM or something as a substantial upgrade. But, you know, this being Nintendo, Nintendo don't care about performance per se. As long as the games are enjoyable to play and not a headache, that's what they're happy about. So, in terms of sort of gaming and stuff, I alluded to last week that I bought a gaming PC. Again, I bought a second one, and this one I have 100% kept. I'm very happy with it. I've set it up now. I even gamed on it a little bit, which was really exciting. So one of the biggest games I'd played on PC for a couple months now was Spin Rhythm, which I think I talked about in a previous episode. And on my laptop, if you put it at like 900p low settings, you can get a stable 50 to 60 FPS. So that's fine. You know, rhythm games don't need to look super gorgeous and pretty. As long as they run well, you're fine. This PC crushes it. I can put this thing at 1080p, full screen, max detail, even have anti-aliasing on, and it's just pumping frames like there's no tomorrow. And I think the more important thing is it's stable like there's no tomorrow. There are no frame dips, there are no skips, there are no random weird encounters with the frame rate. It's just butter smooth, and that's even more important for a rhythm game. You don't want it to suddenly slow down and then butcher your inputs as you're in the middle of a combo. So that's been really fun, though I haven't had much chance to play it because currently we're doing some sort of small renovations in our house, and that requires access to under the floorboards where my desk was. So currently my desk is not set up correctly, and I don't have my computer set up at my desk, so I can't play Spin Rhythm. But on the other hand, my friend, and I'm very thankful to them, generously gifted me on Steam Forza Horizon 4. Oh my goodness, I cannot tell you how amazing that is. And I kind of reprimanded them for it a little bit because I'm like, dude, that's expensive, but holy moly, thank you so much. I had a long-standing love of Need for Speed Most Wanted, the 2012 edition, and got really upset because stupid young me put an account on my PlayStation 3 that I then couldn't access. And I loved Need for Speed Most Wanted. I loved the way the game played. I loved the music. I thought it was just such stupid fun as an arcade racer. And I wanted the DLC, but I couldn't access the PlayStation Store because I was an idiot when I was younger. So I got really bummed out about that, and like I future planned 3-4 years ahead that I said I'd eventually get a gaming PC and buy it on Steam. Well, here I am. I have a gaming PC. I'm waiting for it to come on sale in the Steam Summer Sale, and my friend says, I can do you one better. Here's Forza Horizon 4. But obviously the problem was my desk is not set up. So how do I play this game? Well, I decided to try and set up the computer with my TV instead that I have in my room. And I got that all set up and running perfectly fine. I even plugged in my Switch Pro controller, which Steam apparently just recognizes, and it works fine. And even the game's fine with it. Like, the splash screen of the game showed an Xbox controller with all of the controls, but the game recognizes the inputs exactly as they are on the Pro controller. So, like, it says press, I don't know, right trigger for accelerate, and that works on the Pro controller. It says press A for the handbrake. You press A, it works. As opposed to having to, flip it in your mind because it's the difference between Xbox and Nintendo. Anyway, I honestly played it for like an hour and 10 minutes before I then took a break for lunch, and so good. It does exactly what I want in the sense of it's a really nice racing game. The cars drive really nicely. I don't know how realistic they are in terms of how a car would drive in reality, but it's fun the way they drive. And it just gives you a giant map that you can drive. You can just drive. And I love that. That's what I loved about Need for Speed Most Wanted, is you could just drive. You could take a really nice souped up car and just go for it. Oh, I'm so looking forward to this. I mean, I played a couple of the introductory races because, it kind of leads you through, and I did all of that. And then I just said, okay, I'm just going to drive now. So I just went. I just drove. I just and I loved it. And I think the wild thing that separates it from Most Wanted is you're not bound by the road. You can just drive off into a cornfield for no apparent reason. You can just do that. Like, I was driving along a road doing 170 miles an hour. That's the other wild thing. And then the beach just appeared out of nowhere. I said, I want to go there. So I just drove straight off the beach. And then you're just sliding around because it has accurate physics with how a loose surface would work. I'm just loving this. And then I see a perfectly positioned sand dune that would ramp me into a castle. And you just go for it. You can do that and just drive into a castle from a great big jump. It was amazing. I love it. I think people that aren't even interested in racing games would enjoy just sitting around and driving in this, for an hour. It's just relaxing and so good. And I'm so excited to play more of it because it is doing exactly what I wanted to get Need for Speed for. Just giving that option of, here's a bunch of really cool cars, here's a giant open sandbox to drive around in. And that is wonderful to me, personally. Very excited. I'm very thankful to them as well. You might also be thinking, but isn't Forza Horizon 5 coming out? And yeah, it's coming out towards the back end of this year. But, I mean, they wanted to buy at me now so that I had something to play. And I'm very thankful for that. Right. The other small thing now, after I've gushed about a game I've played for an hour, is I went swimming for the first time in, I think, 4 years? I think the last time I went swimming was when we went on holiday in, 2017. And that was only swimming in a water park, so not quite swimming, if that makes sense. But part of my gym membership is you can go and just book to swim in their giant pool that they have. And I thought, why not? I've never done it. Yeah, that was interesting. I've gotten bigger since the last time I wore swimwear. That's funny. And the little, how would you describe it? The sort of skin tight style swimwear, as opposed to the looser kind that you'd wear at the beach, is too small for me because my thighs are bigger. So I ended up just wearing the sort of beach short style swimwear I had, and they worked perfectly fine. Swimming is just interesting, considering I hadn't done it in a while. I was kind of scared that I wouldn't know how to, or that I'd be a bit rusty, but I kind of talk like it to a duck to water. That's an interesting metaphor. And yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot. The weird thing was is I tried doing backstroke and got motion sick when I got to the other end, so I had to kind of just stay still for a moment. I have very bad motion sickness, and apparently swimming on my back in a pool is motion sickness inducing. But for the majority of it, I then did breaststroke instead, because I had no form of goggles and I wasn't going to do front crawl when I had never swam in a long time. I also just kind of chilled in the water a little bit. I was very out of breath. I have absolutely no stamina for swimming for some reason, and there were like old women that were able to just kind of swim constantly back and forth, and I'm just sat there looking at them like, how are you not dying? I'm dying over here. How are you not dying? But yeah, that was enjoyable. I think I will perhaps look into doing it again at some point in the future. And I think if you have the opportunity for it, go for it, because it is enjoyable, certainly. So I would think. Also, I've managed to talk for a long time, so I hope you enjoyed listening to my ramblings in this longer episode. Anyway, enjoy your week, and I will see you all next week. Bye!